Support for Radio Friends comes from OsteoStrong. Improvements in bone density, strength, and power can be achieved by weekly 5-minute no-sweat sessions on their 4-spectrum machines. These isometric robotic machines safely emulate high-impact loading on different parts of the skeletal system, which stimulates activity in bone-building cells. Balance and agility can be improved by 2-minute sessions on vibration plates. Every session is supervised by a trained coach. Learn more on Facebook or call to set up a complimentary wellness assessment and session. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, February the 18th. Mickey Hafner is back with us this morning, and I like that hat you've got on, Mickey.
Thanks, Paul.
Mickey is a doula. Explain what you do as a doula.
I'm an end-of-life doula, and I help people who are facing their end, facing death, and their loved ones.
Right.
Get through that time and then do counseling with the loved one afterwards.
This is something that, whether we want to think about it or not, each and every one of us, that's you, that's me, everybody, we're all going to face that at one point. We're going to face the end of our life, and if we live long enough, we're going to face the end of the life of people that we love. Maybe not just once or twice, but perhaps many times. It's something that we, as a society, we don't talk about a lot. I don't know why, because it's the surest thing that we have in our life is that we are going, that this life on earth is going to end at one point. And people like you who are end-of-life doulas help people like us come to terms with it.
Yes, exactly.
And there has to be some reward for you also.
Well, yes, there certainly is reward in that you know that you've made that end time easier for someone, and you've made it easier for that person's family.
Right.
And
but you said end time, and I kind of take issue with that, because while it is the end of our life in this body as we know it, it is not really the end of us or our loved ones, because I believe with all of my heart and soul that our spirit and our soul goes on. It's just that the body that we're in comes to an end and stops functioning.
Exactly.
But our presence continues.
Oh, our spirit goes on. Yes.
So you started something, about a half a year or so ago, where you were having these, and the title sounds morbid, but it's not. You started having what you called the Death Cafe, but they became so popular that you're now doing them once a month on a regular basis.
Yes.
Okay, so what happens at the Death Cafe?
At the Death Cafe, we try to make a comfortable space where people can talk about death and dying, their questions, their experiences, their expectations, and by talking about death, you empower that person to face their own death, or you empower the family to get through that time of transition.
Yes, I like that. That's the word, transition.
Yes.
Now, you've had a lot of experiences. You were a chaplain at Boone Hospital for many years, right? So you dealt with this on a regular basis, and you're still dealing with it on a regular basis. How do you approach someone who is facing the end of their life in their body on this earth, and they're not quite sure what lies ahead? How do you bring peace to a person like that?
Well, for one thing, it depends on their faith perspective. Different religions have different end-of-life stories.
Right.
And so I tried to relate to people based on their faith and where they're going. As a Christian chaplain, I know those stories,
right?
All of those Bible stories. We were recently talking about the book of Revelation and how that when you get to the end of it, it talks about a new heaven and a new earth. No more dying, no more crying. For a Christian person, that's like hearing the spoiler for a movie. You know, if somebody says, you're going to love this movie, and it's really traumatic during the movie, but it turns out right, then that eases things during the movie.
Right.
And so for Christians, if you know the end of the story, then it makes life
easier.
And getting there much easier.
You know, what I find so wonderful in my eyes is that I have talked to people who have been with others who were dying. Yes. And so many of them have had experiences where they have seen their relatives who have passed on
yes.
before them come, and they're there in the room with them, sitting, waiting for them to make that crossing themselves.
Yes, and that's one of the things that often comes up at Death Cafe.
And you, as a chaplain at Boone Hospital, did you experience that with people?
Oh, yes. And I worked in a nursing home for a while, and people were transitioning, and they would talk about their mother or their grandmother, or angels waiting for them
yes.
To show them the way. And when people can see that and you can convince them they're not crazy,
right.
You know, they're family. This is normal.
Yes. I so believe that. And sometimes when you tell that story, somebody will say, "Oh, well, they were just hallucinating." I don't buy that.
I don't think
they're not
so.
hallucinating, because I've known too many people who have had the same experience.
Yes.
And that's something that you need to hang on to.
Yes. And those are the kinds of stories that people tell
at the Death
on
Cafe.
Death Cafe. Recently, I was on a Death Cafe. There was a woman who'd had 2 near-death experiences, and she said that when she got to heaven, or wherever this place was beyond, that there was something like a laser beam going from the hearts of every person to the hearts of other people.
Mickey, we could just go on and on, but go to, you can email Mickey if you want more information. It's DoulaMickey@socket.net. Okay? Thank you very much, Mickey. And,
thank you, Paul.
All right, we'll get you back here again. We'll continue this conversation.
All right, thanks.
All right, when you're out and about, wear your mask. We want you to stay with us for a while. pepperpmissouri.edu. Bye-bye.